Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon deck profile video. So today I'm going to be taking a look at BT11, and BT11 offers us lots of new and powerful tools to be able to build and iterate on some new and existing decks. And today's deck I'm going to be taking a look at is yet again another iteration on the Machinedramon deck. So Machinedramon is seeming to be the gift that keeps on giving, with constant waves of support just because of the interactions that the deck has with lots of cyborg traded Digimon. This time around in BT11 he's getting some actual direct support with a new version of Machinedramon and a new tamer, on top of just again more level 5 cyborg Digimon to be playing around with to try to toolbox our level 5s to make our Machinedramon and our Chaosdramon as powerful as they possibly can be. I'm actually going to try to adopt a little bit more of a stack building approach inside of this build in particular, just because we actually do want to try to digivolve up into our higher stage Digimon, and it rewards us for doing so while still being able to and having access at how Machinedramon from EX1 still wants to play. So with all that said and done, let's just dive right into the deck profile. Starting off with the Digitama, I'm only going to be running 4 copies of Dorimon. If you want to run a 5th Digitama like Pagumon or anything else that could synergize with the deck, by all means feel free to do so. But I'm going to be running Dorimon just because when we digivolve into our level 6 Digimon, we're going to have the ability to shove Digimon underneath our Digimon, and Dorimon rewards us for doing that with some extra card draw. Next, on to the rookies, I'm going to be running 1 copy of Chuumon. So Chuumon is in here just as an anti-meta floodgate. It could really be anything you feel like you want it to be, but I do just like the ability to try to stop the opponent for specific actions, and Chuumon stops them from being able to gain memory off of their cards, so that way we could try to stop their memory manipulating shenanigans. Similarly, this is why I'm also going to be running 1 copy of Chikurimon. So this is the starter deck version of Chikurimon, and it's stopping the opponent from being able to reduce their Digimon's play costs. So that way it's acting as a good card to stop the opponent from being able to utilize their Death Exmon efficiently, and similarly with the Digicross ability. Next, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Dorumon. So Dorumon is in the deck for the exact same reason that Dorimon is in the deck. We don't necessarily care about his on-play ability, we just want to use him for his inheritable ability when we're going up our evolutionary chain to digivolve into our level 6 to try to make that move and that play as powerful and efficient as we possibly can. And the inheritable to be able to gain 1 memory when we shove Digimon underneath our Digimon's inheritable source is the intended reason why we're playing this card. And then the last rookie of the deck is going to be 4 copies of Hagurumon. So the deck doesn't really have any good dedicated diggers, but we do have Hagurumon, which is pretty close to it, acting as some good cycling for the deck, where we basically just discard a machine or cyborg traded Digimon from our hand to be able to draw 2 on his on-play ability, so he's just a good way to be able to start digging through our deck as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can. Next, on to the champions, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Numemon. So Numemon is in the deck solely just because of his stat line, just because he's easy and cheap to digivolve into him, and he's also easy and cheap to want to hard play in case we don't necessarily see a rookie, so that way we still can try to digivolve into a level 5, get the benefits off of our level 5, and then digivolve into a level 6, or just hide him in raising on top of our stack that we're trying to build and be able to build it cheaply and efficiently. Next, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Tankmon. So Tankmon is in here for a very similar reason why Numemon is in here. Numemon just has cheaper stats, so it's just a weaker body, but it's a more efficient body to use. So Tank, while being a cyborg, does have some synergy with how we could use him inside of the deck, while at least still having a very cheap Digivolution cost to make it easy to go into him. And then the last champion of the deck is going to be 4 copies of Gigadramon. So this is the EX1 version of Gigadramon, and this is a pretty decent card just because it's going to be acting as a solid blocker on top of the machine and cyborg synergy that he's working around with, on top of the fact that he himself has a nice inheritable for us to take advantage when we're being aggressive with our level 5s and our level 6s. So that way we could basically just have Hagurumon's on-play ability on a when attacking ability for our higher stage Digimon for some extra cycling. Next, on to the level 5s. Almost all of the level 5s, we don't necessarily care about what their native ability is. We just care about trying to utilize their inheritable ability to act as a really good toolbox of effects for our higher stage Digimon. Megadramon from EX1, we just care about the fact that it's going to give our higher stage machine type Digimon an extra security attack plus. MetalGreymon here from EX1, we care more so about the inheritable ability to be able to give our machine or dragonkins the piercing ability. Next, I'm going to be running one copy of MetalTyrannomon. We care more so about the inheritable ability to be able to passively burn the opponent's Digimon when our Digimon is either being aggressive or defensive, just because of the different stacks and abilities we could be playing around with. Next, I'm going to be running one copy of the BT11 version of Gigadramon. So Gigadramon is just in here, again, for its inheritable ability of applying Reboot, just so we have multiple ways to be able to have different instances on these abilities. And if we do want to try to use him generically and offensively when we're digivolving up our stack, then he's going to be coming with jamming, so that way his attacks are going to be safe onto the opponent. Next, I'm going to be running one copy of Andromon. So Andromon, his inheritable ability is just giving our machine-traded Digimon the blocker ability, so that way we have some good defensive lines to play, and when we digivolve up into him, he's going to be trying to help with the deck's consistency, acting as the searching tool for our level 6 machine-traded Digimon. And then that same style of when digivolving effect is going to be on the one copy of MetalTyrannomon from EX1 that we're also going to be running, and similarly, he's also going to have a good inheritable ability for our higher stage Digimon, applying Reboot to them. And then third verse is same as the first, where the when digivolving ability is the same, so that way we could try to be as consistent with our setup as we possibly can, and his inheritable ability is just helping our Digimon be able to delete some of the opponent's low-level Digimon. Next, I'm going to be running two copies of Cyberdramon. So this is the EX3 version of Cyberdramon, and this is good for some good DP boosting during all turns, so that way we don't have to waste deck slots running a specific DP booster during the opponent's turn or our turn, and this just does it all in one, as long as we have a suspended Black Tamer in play, which is why we're also playing a couple of the Tamers that we're running to be able to utilize this ability. Next, I'm going to be running one copy of the starter deck at Megadramon, just for its inheritable ability of adding blocker to our higher stage Digimon, so that way we could try to have some consistency on the abilities that we're playing around with. Next, I'm going to be running two copies of MetalGreymon. So this is the BT8 version of MetalGreymon, and this is just a fantastic card for any deck that could run him, just because his when digivolving ability is some good disruption and control, on top of his inheritable ability being really powerful for virtually any machine or dragonkin that he's digivolving into, where it just allows us to attack the opponent's unsuspended Digimon. And then the last level 5 of the deck is going to be two copies of Megadramon. So this is the BT9 version of Megadramon, and this is in the deck for, again, more low-level Digimon hate and even some extra added Tamer removal, so that way we could try to deal with some of their more problematic Tamers if they're playing a deck that relies on them. Next, on to the level 6s, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Chaosdramon. So this is the EX3 version of Chaosdramon, and he has that alternative Digivolution condition, where we could Digivolve him for 1 on top of a Machinedramon, so that way we could use our Machinedramons alternatively to be able to climb into a Chaosdramon and utilize Chaosdramon's abilities, just because he has a nice on-play and when Digivolving ability. So we have the different ways on how we could approach utilizing this card, where we get to place up to 3 red and or black level 5 cyborg traded Digimon with different numbers from our hand or trash underneath this Digimon to de-digivolve 1 on one of the opponent's Digimon for each card we added this way. So just getting up into him is already going to have some decent disruption towards the opponent's game plan, while also filling up his inheritable sources with various different abilities. Then we want him to have a nice healthy slew of inheritable abilities for his secondary effect, where during all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck, we get to trash 2 level 5 Digimon from his inheritable sources to prevent him from leaving play, so he has some nice built-in protection as well. Next, I'm going to be running 2 copies of the brand new BT11 version of Machinedramon. So this version of Machinedramon is another card that actually is incentivizing us to try to digivolve up into him, rather than just always hard play our Machinedramons, because passing over a lot of memory onto the opponent isn't necessarily the best idea at times. So we have that alternative way to be able to utilize the card, and this card's actually pretty good with his ability to try to help dig out our Analogmans. And if we see a cyborg or machine traded Digimon, then we either get to place it into our hand or place it underneath this Digimon and then trash the rest. So that way it's just another card to try to help set us up while triggering Dorimon and Dorumon's inheritable abilities, further incentivizing their inclusions. Then he even has a nice on-delete ability. While it's not necessarily protection, it does help us set up for an even more powerful play, where we get to place one Analogman that's in play to the bottom of our deck to be able to play a Machinedramon from our hand for free. So we could play another copy of this Machinedramon, or we could play the EX1 version of Machinedramon and then gain all of the bonuses off of that Machinedramon in combination with this on-delete ability. And the EX1 version of Machinedramon, I'm going to be running 3 copies of as the last Digimon in the deck, just because he's still a very powerful card in his own right. So he only has the on-play ability, which we could combo with, as we just saw, off of the brand new Machinedramon, where we get to add 5 red or black level 5 cyborg traded Digimon with different numbers from our hand or trash underneath this Digimon, and be able to gain 1 memory for each card we place this way. So we want to try to place them from our trash rather than from our hand. But the fact that we have access at both means that we could consistently try to be able to get 5 Digimon underneath him to be able to make him as strong as we possibly can. Then he has some really good added protections on top of all of the slew of abilities that we could add onto him, where during all turns, this Digimon's DP can't be reduced, so he's already really good against yellow decks. And then his third ability is just even more protection, where during all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted, so there are alternative ways to be able to remove him, but he at least has some good deletion protection, where we get to trash 2 level 5 Digimon from his Digivolution source to prevent him from being deleted. So it's not necessarily perfect protection, but something is better than nothing, and it's still just a very annoying card to just have sit on the field, especially against particular matchups. Next, on to the Tamers, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Analogman. So Analogman is going to be one of the deck's main Tamers for us to use, because it is interacting with cyborgs and machines. On top of Machinedramon from BT11 already wanting to dig out this card. So at the start of our main phase, we get to trash 1 level 5 cyborg traded Digimon from our hand to be able to gain a memory and draw a card for some good cycling and resource generation. Then on top of that, during the opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, then we get to suspend this Tamer to switch the attack of that Digimon to a level 6 machine traded Digimon on our side. So he's actually adding some extra defensive lines of play, with a Tamer giving our Digimon the redirect ability, on top of him already potentially having the blocker ability. And then the last Tamer of the deck is going to be 2 copies of Kazu. So Kazu was the original card that was interacting with our cyborgs and machines, and he's still going to be a pretty good card here, just because any way that we have to gain some extra resources is always good. So at the start of our main phase, if we have a Digimon with cyborg or machine in its traits in play, then we get to gain a memory. So this actually incentivizes us to use our erasing area to be able to hide a machine or cyborg traded Digimon, so that way we move it out and be able to gain the bonuses off of Kazu, and this does stack per Kazu. And then on top of that, he has a nice all turns ability, which just makes our Cyberdramon even more playable, because we have the ability to suspend him when we suspend one of our machines or cyborg traded Digimon to be able to draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So he himself is already acting as some good cycling, on top of a way to always consistently have a Tamer suspended. And then lastly, onto the options, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. So Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon is a pretty interesting card. Most of the time we want to use this as a good way to try to finish off the game, or be able to have alternative lines of play to be able to set up a good EX1 Machinedramon, or set up a good Chaosdramon as well. just because we get to trash one card with Cyborg or Machine in its traits from our hand to have all of our level 6 Digimon with Machine in their traits gain the Rush ability and an on-play ability, where if this Digimon has Digivolution sources, then it gains the Blitz effect as well. So that way we could basically just use this card to then be able to play a Machinedramon or a Chaosdramon, and then add sources underneath using those cards' respective abilities, and then be able to swing with the card right away, even when the memory passes onto the opponent's side, making our Digimon even more usable. Then its security ability is actually going to be acting as the key removal for this deck, where we get to trash a Digimon with Machine or Cyborg in its traits from our hand to be able to delete one of the opponent's Digimon that has an equal or less play cost than the one that we trashed. So it's just extra ways to try to fill up our trash with the cards we want in there, while also acting as some good removal when it's checked in our security. And then the last card of the deck is going to be one copy of Ultimate Connection. So Ultimate Connection is still just a pretty decent card. It's not as needed as it once was, just because we have other tech and tools we want to incorporate into the deck, but I think it's still just a very good card regardless, just because it's basically the deck's Hammer Spark. So even though we have to pay 1 memory to utilize this card, just the fact that we get to trash a level 5 Cyborg traded Digimon from our hands to gain 2 memory and draw a card is still really good, just because we're net gaining 1 memory off of using this card while cycling through our deck as well. But as far as the general game plan and gameplay goes, we're basically just trying to cycle through our deck to put our trash in hand in a particular state to try to make the most out of our Machinedramons and our Chaosdramons, just so we could try to line up very intricate stacks, so that way we could get particular abilities to line up very nicely with each other to make it very powerful Digimon, just because we do have a lot of toolboxing on our inheritable abilities. So usually when you see Blocker, you're going to want to pair it up with Reboot. Usually when you see the ability to attack into the opponent's Digimon, we want to pair it up with Piercing, and we want to pair that up with Security Attack Plus, so we could deal some consistent damage. That's just a couple of examples on just a few lines of play in terms of how we want to approach our stack building to be able to try to make our Digimon as powerful as we want them to be and need them to be. But to get ourselves in that particular situation, we're going to need a little bit of a setup, which is kind of why I like utilizing in the raising area Dorumon and Dorimon, just because when we do move out and Digivolve into our level 6, then it's going to be rewarding us with some extra memory, which just makes our cards more efficient, and extra card draw, just because the 2 level 6s that do have when Digivolve abilities have the ability to put Digimon underneath our stack, which then triggers their abilities. So it just makes utilizing those cards a little bit easier, and in the meantime, while we're waiting and building a stack in raising, we're going to be utilizing cards like Gigadramon to be able to try to help us set up with some good cheap cycling, on top of the fact that we do have Numemon as a good cheap card to use as well, not only just because he Digivolves for cheap, so that way we could get some extra cycling, but in case we're stuck and we don't see any rookies, Numemon can act as a pseudo rookie, and then that just allows us to utilize the cards from EX1 to all try to help dig out for our level 6 while still being level 5s in their own rights to use on top of our Numemon. So there's just a lot of good, intricate, and easy lines of play for us to make. Then the other level 4s, it doesn't necessarily matter with this type of stack what level 4 we're going to be utilizing. If we need to go for the efficiency, then we have something like Tankmon and Numemon, but if we do want the inheritable, we could think about being a little bit aggressive with Gigadramon, just because some of our level 5s actually do have some good offensive capabilities in their own right, like the brand new Gigadramon with the jamming ability built in, while being able to give it Reboot. So there are just a lot of like evolutionary stacks that we want to see, and there's a lot of flexibility on how we could evolve up the chain. But regardless on what we use as the level 4, we're just going to basically do the whole chicken gameplay thing, where we're going to hide our main stack in raising, so that way when we get into a particular state and we want to use our cards, we could use the Machinedramon and Chaosdramon to disrupt the opponent with and try to use it as effectively as we possibly can. The brand new Machinedramon is actually pretty good because it's helping search out for our main tamer, which is going to be Analogman, and Analogman in combination with a Machinedramon, when it gets deleted, is going to play our other Machinedramon, so that way we could use the EX1 Machinedramon to his utmost potential. And in the meantime, Kazu's just going to hopefully be sitting and chilling on the field to gain us some extra passive memory on top of adding some good cycling into the deck, similarly to how we're utilizing Analogman. Then our options are literally just for more cycling with Ultimate Connection, and basically Heavy Machine Digimon is just basically going to be used as an alternate win condition to be able to hard play any of our level 6 Digimon, get their on play effects, so that way we could gain the Rush and Blitz ability to try to close out games with. So there's just a lot of different lines of play that you could take an approach with this deck. And then there's still just a whole bunch of other tech and tools that you could think about incorporating into the deck to really customize it and make it your own, especially when it comes to the low-level Digimon. We do have a couple of different sub-packages that you could run to be able to customize it that way based on the type of environment and meta you're expected to play against. So if you wanted to run a blue package, then you could run the Jamming Vmon and his respective egg for some good early game card draw. Then on top of that, the reason why you would want to play blue is because you also could think about utilizing a card like a Kaiser Nail to be able to split apart your Digimon's inheritable abilities into actual Digimon and utilize them for their on-play abilities, which our level 6 Machinedramons have some really good on-play abilities we could take advantage of, on top of some of our various other level 5 Digimon. Then, if you wanted to, you could also think about splashing in some red eggs in the form of Guilmon and his respective egg. Then, on top of that, if you want to run a different color low end, we also have purple to be playing around with, just because purple has some really good low-level cycling. But if you wanted to be a little bit more spicy, we actually do have Ludamon that we could think about running from the starter deck, just as another card to be able to basically shove a card underneath our inheritable sources to be able to gain access to the blocker ability alternatively, more so with our Chaosdramon than our Machinedramons, but regardless, it still works, and at worst, it's still just a hard play to basically cycle, so it's just a good, cute tech card you can think about incorporating. And then we have a whole bunch of the older level 5 Cyborg Digimon as other Digimon we could think about incorporating into the deck, depending on the abilities that you're looking for. Then, if we wanted to, we do have some off-color tamers that we could think about running. So if you're playing the blue package, you could think about playing Kyoshiro. If you're thinking about playing the purple package, you do have Mimi and Sora. And if you're playing red, then we do have Hero, all to try to gain their various bonuses from, while utilizing options of their colors and having access to them, while still being decent tamers in their own right. Then if you want to go for something a little bit more generic and cheaper, then we do have a card like Analog Youth, which does have some pretty decent synergy with the deck, just to be a cheap search tool, on top of the fact that when we're low on inheritable sources, and we still have some inheritable sources, then we actually could think about utilizing Analog Youth's secondary ability. But as far as some level 7s go, the deck doesn't really need level 7s, but Death Exmon is just an easy one to splash into virtually any deck just because of how easy it is to use the card. Or if you want to be a little bit more spicy and you think you could incorporate Ragnarlordmon, then he's just another good game finisher, level 7 for us to use. Then we do have various other options in all of the different colors that you could think about incorporating into the deck. I'm just going to be highlighting the newest one, which is going to be Hyper Infinity Cannon, as a really good card to just act as another security threat while synergizing with the Machine and Cyborg synergy. And then we do just have a whole bunch of other generic tech and tools in terms of options that we could incorporate. So we have a whole bunch of good red options, we have a cool bunch of good black options, and we could just think about using something as generic as a memory boost, just because we're trying to mostly find our level 6s more than our other Digimon, and we're trying to have our other Digimon be thrown into our trash for easy and cheap setups. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are a couple of different ways you could support me and the channel. So I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so when you use that link to buy cards off of TCG Player, then some of that money will go to supporting me and the channel. I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook, so when you buy a playmat with my design, then some of that money will also go to help supporting me and the channel. And on top of all of that, I do have a Twitch account over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, so giving me a follow and a subscription also helps support me there, and I do play Digimon on top of various other games on that platform as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.